Alrighty, gang. It's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. And today we're going to look at a question that has come up for me in some reflection today and yesterday. And we're going to see where this goes. But it starts with this question or this observation that I must not know what I want in my life, right? Or why I want it, because I often have this thing in me that says I don't want to. You could call it a rebel. You could call it an excuse. You could call it a reason. But I've noticed this lately, like in my life for a long time, I love personal development. I love goal setting. I love business. And one of the ways that started for a long time now has expressed itself is in setting really big goals, having really big vision. And so I've played in that space a lot. I've allowed myself to go out there and say, let's set really big goals. And what I noticed then about myself is that I will go a distance in creating things that will help me reach that goal. And then I stop. There is a place in which I would stop. Now, you could call that a comfort zone for sure. You could call it an excuse or a reason. But it's prevalent. It's always there. There's always this, I don't want to do that. Now, whether maybe it's a meal plan or an exercise routine, or maybe it's a certain thing in business that needs to happen. But there's this thing that's like, I don't want to do that, whatever that is, right? I don't want to do that. And so I've been looking at that today. We all have that, don't we? We all have that thing that says, I don't want to do that. And then this becomes our ceiling. This becomes where we stop ourselves. And in the past, I would relate to this thing, this voice, this excuse of I don't want to do that as something that is an annoyance and shouldn't be there, right? Like, I realized and I'll give you the Sunday school answer, right? Which is, yes, I know that's an excuse, and I know I need to change my mindset and all that. I'm looking at it differently today, right? Which is, I'm a really hard worker. When I'm obsessed about something, when I really desire something, I spend a lot of time going into that thing, right? I'm a really good seeker. Like, I spend a lot of the doing that I do is seeking, right? So I'm learning, I'm contemplating, I'm digging deeper into my excuses and my beliefs. Like, how do I see the world? So I'm really good at seeking. And then there are things to go do so beyond seeking and finding answers. Once you find answers, there are things to go do. And I will go do things to a certain extent until I have this voice again. That's like, I don't want to do that, whatever that is. So again, I'm looking at this thing of like, I must not know what I want or why I want it. Otherwise, I would show up to do it. Because there are certain things in life that when I want them, I will go do them. But when I don't know what I want or why I want it, I don't. And this voice of, I don't want to do that, comes up. So let's pause for a minute. The first thing here is, if you are in a space where you're like, I don't want to do that, or you find that you constantly create action plans for yourself, and you keep bumping up against this voice that's like, I don't want to do that, there's an opportunity to look into that for maybe you don't know what you want or why you want it. So you set a goal, great, good for you. Why do you want that? Why do you want that? A six-pack has been a great example for me physically. I'm like, for the longest time, like, yeah, six-pack, that's great. I'm like, maybe I don't want that. Maybe I don't want that. Or if I did want it, I'm not even really sure why I want it. Because it's cool? Because society kind of touts that around as a cool thing. And that takes me to a next insight here, which is I'm starting to wonder if how I have defined success is based on the representations of that success that society gives me, right? So to be successful in business looks like you make this kind of money and you have this kind of following, and what started for me in getting into business as a lifestyle move and an impact move, like what I know to be true for me is that I want to have a lifestyle that feels good to me on my terms and I want to have an impact with people. Those two things are true for me. But over the years, I've allowed those two intentions to be sideswiped by other people's expressions of what that's supposed to look like. And so what I end up with is a list of what I should be doing, what I should be wanting, why I should be wanting it, and what it looks like. And these find their way into my plans. They find their way into my goals, and from my goals, they find their way into my plans. And so I end up setting plans that have a huge action item list, and then this rebel in me comes up and says, I don't want to do that. So do you see, like, for a long time, for years and years, my life has been set up to go, let's go there. And then this thing comes up and says, I don't want to do that. And so I feel frustrated over time because I'm not getting past those sticking points. Now, you could argue and say, well, Chris, those are just that's your comfort zone and your limiting beliefs and your excuses and your reasons and all that. And I'm just telling you, like, there's something here. There is a truth to be unearthed here. I haven't fully exposed it, but I'm onto something, right? So I think that's true for us in this tribe, which is this group of people. We didn't get in marketing for the rest of us, right? We didn't get into business to make gazillions of dollars and to take a company public. You, like me, got into business for lifestyle and impact, those two things. And I think somewhere along the way, you, like me, got sideswiped by how that lifestyle should be defined by how other people give examples of it. And you have never really fully owned what that lifestyle is. At least that's what I'm finding for me. I'm like, yeah, well, what would that lifestyle be? I don't know. And it takes something to think about. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want in lifestyle? What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to be like? How much money is enough money to pay your bills, pay your debts, pay for projects, treat yourself, save, invest? How much is enough? Like, how much would get it done? What would feel comfortable? What would give you breathing room? And what I've discovered is that number is a lot less than some of the numbers I've set for myself in the past, right? It just is. And I'm finding in that space a lot less shoulds, right? So when I start to look at what do I really want in lifestyle and impact, which is frankly smaller than the goals I've set for myself in the past, then what is opening up for me is like this breathing room, right? This space. So rather than feeling like I'm always working to get to some goal I've set for myself that I'm not actually clear why I set that goal, now, other than just, wouldn't that be cool, or that'd be fun, or we should do it, or let's see how far we can get. But it's left me with a lot of shoulds in my life. Like, I should do this, it's not enough, I need to do more. And what I'm realizing now is, like, I'm pretty close to the number, right? I can make it more consistent, but I've hit that number, right? So for me, like, the number that comes up for me is 20,000 a month. If I can hit 20,000 a month, that takes care of a lot. And I've hit that number, right? Now, I don't hit it consistently, but I've had multiple 5-figure months in the last year, and that's been amazing, right? So now it's like, how do I make that more consistently 5 figures every month? And not just 5 figures, but 20,000 a month every month. Like, that's now something that feels within my reach, but it's not this. I think what I was doing was setting a goal like several levels up. And from where the man I am right now today is not equipped to go do that. And so I, the man I am today, have been trying to play a game that is several levels above where I am qualified for. That just made me think of when I was a kid. I played racquetball. I took racquetball classes. I got lessons, right? And I played racquetball. And I always remember, like, they would talk about, it's important to play, with people who are a little bit better than you because it makes you better. But take me as a middle school kid playing racquetball and put me up against a professional racquetball player. And if all I ever did was try to compete at the professional level as a middle school beginner or intermediate player, right, I would constantly feel like it wasn't enough and I wasn't doing it right and I'm not good enough and I should do this and it should look like this. So what's opening up for me is that if I would look at just like, listen, maybe when I get to 20,000 a month consistently, and I have breathing room and my lifestyle and impact are on point, because those are the things that really matter to me, lifestyle and impact. Maybe a new level will open up for me. Maybe I'll be like, hey, let's take this to 30,000 a month, or let's take this, well, I don't know what it looks like, right? But I think what I've been trying to do is play several levels above where I am. And this, what I've called a rebel or an excuse, which is called I don't want to do that, may actually be a part of me that's trying to keep me grounded and relevant to what I can actually do right now. Interesting, right? That's an interesting thought. I often have this thing like excuses and reasons and rebels, and you just got to get out of your comfort, like this negative connotation of these kinds of voices. But what if this voice that's like, I don't want to do that, is actually in partnership with me being appropriate in this moment of my life, and looking at like, what would you want to do? What could you do? And more than that, like, what do you want actually, and why do you actually want it? And if I could figure that out, then I might actually have what I know is that I'm a passionate person, and I give my life to the things that I care about. I know this about me. And so it's always been a frustration where I'm like, I have these goals, I think they matter to me, but why do I not give myself fully to them? Like, why I give myself to a moment and then I stop. Why? Why is that? And what if this voice, this I don't want to do that has simply been part of me that's helping me be more appropriate in the moment, be present in the moment with what I have and what I actually want. It's been trying to get my attention, like, hey, Chris, what do you actually want and why do you want it? Yeah, this is interesting, right? I think it's important for us in this tribe because, like I said, we got into this for lifestyle and impact. And we did not get into this for all the goals and all the reasons that everybody else has. We have our own unique and special, authentic reasons why we do what we do. And sometimes we get sideswiped by societal norms or standards or way it looks for them. And we kind of then start to compare ourselves and think, well, maybe what I should be doing should look like what they're suggesting. And I think you and I are more individualistic than that. I think you and I are not compelled by those things. I think we have our own sense of self. But if we get sideswiped by the cultural standards or norms, then what happens is we actually, it's dissonant, right? There's a disconnect. We're out of alignment. And I think what I'm finding my way into is alignment. I'm finding my way into alignment. And it's making a lot of sense to me. Because I know myself as someone who gives my all to the things that matter. And the conundrum, the place, the sticking point has been, why am I not giving myself to these things? And again, I'll bring it back to the question we started with, because this is where the insight came for me. This is where the aha moment came for me, which is, maybe I don't know what I want or why I want it. And that's why I keep not going the distance, or why I keep saying I don't want to do that. So for you, if there's a moment or a place in your life where you keep finding yourself not doing the work that you keep saying you want to do, and there's this voice that's like, I don't want to do that, maybe it's pointing to something else it's pointing you to clarify what you really want and why you really want it. And from that place, you might find breathing room and space in your mind, in your actions, in your schedule, to actually then just give yourself to the thing you actually want and why you want it, without having to compare it to what everybody else says you should want. Right? And that's interesting from a place of business and marketing, right? Because now our marketing is simply here to do those two things, lifestyle and impact. It's here to support us in creating the lifestyle we want while having the impact we want. And if we could approach marketing from that place, we might not be so tied up in knots about how many people are liking our posts, commenting on our posts, taking our programs, not taking our programs. We could get more appropriate with what there is to do in your marketing, in your plans, in your programs, to produce the lifestyle and the impact that you actually want and why you want that. All right, gang, that's it for me today in this episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. We'll see you tomorrow. Here's to you. Well, two things. One, here's to you. Well, first of all, if you want to learn more about this marketing approach, right, where we actually dive into this, it's more than just you finding your message. and you launching a podcast, but it's the beginning of an entire journey into how do you set your business up for impact and lifestyle. That's what this is, right? So if you want to learn more about that, go to groundswellmethod.com. Thanks for hanging out with me here. Here's to you all finding the things that you really want and why you really want them. See you tomorrow.